Hi, in a previous video we took a look at a $5 USB soldering iron, and whilst it worked and it might be kind of useful for some applications, it's not something I would have any faith in whatsoever about, being like robust and reliable and everything else. So I thought I'd take a look at another USB soldering iron, and this is the brand spanking new TS80 soldering iron. Yes, it's kind of, I guess, the little brother, is it, of the TS100, which everyone absolutely raves about. But the good thing about this is that it is a USB powered iron as opposed to the DC barrel jack used in the TS100. So not nearly as convenient if you're out in the field. So this could be really interesting. It's a 72 US dollars at the moment, delivered on AliExpress. It's an order of magnitude more expensive than that cheap ass $5 iron, but as we'll no doubt see, it's much higher quality. So let's take a look at it. I got the iron itself, including some adapters we'll have a look at. I've got a nice little carry case here, which is really good for a portable soldering iron. Obviously some sort of portable stand, but it doesn't fit in the provided case. Unbelievable. I've got an adapter because the adapter inside here, we'll take a look at the iron in a minute. Let's see what else we got. Safety instruction. There you go. Knock yourself out. We don't care about that. Soldering iron gets hot. That's all you need to know. In there, we get an Allen key. We get a USB-C. That feels real. Oh, that's silicone. That feels really sex on a stick. That does. Very nice. We've got ourselves a grounding strap. Neat. For ESD. I don't know where that hooks in. And we've got a power adapter, because this is not actually 5 volts USB, it's actually 9 volts 2 amps, which is part of the quick charge 3.0 standard, which here we go. So we need an adapter. There we go, 9 volts 2 amps. So it'll ramp up if it negotiates the higher power. That's all part of the standard. Temperature range from 100 to 400 degrees C, 9 volts input, and a rated power of 18 volts. 9 volts times 2 amps, of course. Designed by E-Design and made in China. So let's try the stand out here. Okay, we'll figure out how to use that later, will we? Yeah, it's all sharp. Really don't like it. I don't know why they bother. Now, you have to be careful which one you actually order, because it only comes with the one tip. So I ordered the one with the beveled tip like this. Normally, I believe, like the standard one comes with a fine point conical tip, which I don't particularly like for general use. I'm sure you can buy these things separately, but I haven't looked. But as you can see, it uses a 3.5mm TRS jack to plug into this thing and get the power through and the temperature sensor back. Because unlike the $5 USB crap one we looked at, this one is fully temperature controlled, as well as being higher power at 18 watts. Now, I've got to say, this looks and feels really good quality. This is a TSD25, is it there? Tip. And yeah, it looks and feels like really good quality. I'm suitably impressed by this, and yes, it is a direct heat technology iron. So the element is integrated into the tip, and it's right at the tip. So its thermal performance, should be pretty schmick. Well, for 18 watts anyway. I have no idea why this part here screws off, because this doesn't come out. If you buy a new tip, I believe you get the whole lot. So I can only presume that's like a finger type thing to, if your fingers touch that, that's not going to get as nearly as hot as if it was completely integrated with the whole thing. Now, the pencil itself looks and feels superb quality. It has, there's our little ground strap. Very nice. Anyway, anodized aluminium. I really like it. Now, this piece just screws off here, but once again, I'm not sure why, because it's not like it locks in place. You can just plug your tip in like that. So I don't know why that rings there. Okay, it looks like we've got 2 buttons here. Temperature, is there one in the middle as well? I'm not sure. And let's peel that off. Ta-da! We've got ourselves a little OLED screen. But yeah, that looks and feels great quality. Oh, I didn't know that it actually has a sleep mode. Look at this, at half a watt. 5 volt standby mode, but it's got standby is presumably different to the sleep-in temperature there. It goes down to 200, presumably to increase tip life. And they tell you here at continuous use at 350, which is probably where you're going to be wanting to operate an iron, like a small capacity iron like this, up to 40 minutes, the handle surface temperature will reach 50, 60 degrees, i.e. too hot to touch. So yeah, it's not going to be a production iron. But hey, you don't expect it to be, because this is designed for just, 5-10 minutes use in the field. And the earthing strap was certainly a nice touch, so you could, put that onto a computer chassis or to your field ESD mat or whatever you want to hook it onto. Neat. And it fits in the case very nicely. There's room for another tip in there, plus you can put a whole bunch of solder in there, but the stand doesn't fit, so either find something else or just don't bother. Okay, let's power it on and see what happens. Oh, there we go. That's the sleep mode. So it's in sleep, heating, setting, heating. Setting. It's not doing much heating with that sort of current draw. Oops, I just hit the up button. Sorry. Now, it's not particularly heating up quickly at all. There's the magic smoke escaping from the tip. And but we are at the 9 volts and it's not quite the 2 amps. So it's certainly not delivering the 18 watts claimed. Certainly not delivering full power. Okay, now the first thing, I don't know if this is the same interface as the TS100. I've never used the TS100, but I would have expected that up-down thing. Oh, there we go. You've got to hold it down, and then that goes in 10-degree increments. Okay, that's all right. And the center, there is no center button by the looks of it. It's got a velocity control. That's really quick. There we go. You just have to let it time out. And 15 watts. There you go. So not quite the 18, but there could be some loss in the USB thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to quibble about that. And just sitting there doing naff all, it's going to draw, 5 odd watts. Okay, let's not muck around. Let's go straight for the ground plane test. I don't know if it's going to do it. We'll try it using my standard lead-free Loctite solder. So let's give it a whirl. Here we go. Ah, nice. Smooth as silk, no worries whatsoever. Beautiful. And once again, it seems to be drawing about 15 watts into that ground plane. Okay, let's see if it's full of it. It's set to 350 degrees. Already got some solder on there. Well, it's certainly not accurate. It's a good 20 degrees over. Not great. And when you're going down in temperature, it gives you the display like that. By the way, the OLED display, it's okay. I don't know what it's like outside, but anyway, let's go down to just 270, just because we can. And it's more accurate down there. It's only 7 degrees out. We're pretty confident in this. We've measured it with other irons and cross-correlated with other temperature sensors. So, yeah. By the way, I really do like that it shows the voltage on there. That's really good. I'm not sure what this other display here is supposed to be. I don't know. Okay, just for kicks, let's see if we can solder a TO220 down to this ground plane, shall we? So let's give it a whirl. Got it set to 350, by the way. So it's a bit how you doing, I know. But I'm just curious to see if it can do that or not. It's going on the tab. Geez, like this is not something that I'd expect out of an 18 watt iron, but oh gee, look at that. Wow, that's not bad at all. You can't complain for your 18 watts. The capability of this thing is really quite impressive. It's not easy. I mean, we can ramp the temperature up a bit, and it'd probably do a better job with leaded solder too. By the way, one thing I've found is that using this iron, I'm always like hitting these buttons. So yeah, whether or not, you can get it in a mode where that's a problem, I'm sure it can happen. Here we go. Let's just get some 60/40 stuff and see what we can do here. Once again, still set to 350. And there you go. You can actually get in there like that. And that is very impressive. I know I'm taking way too long to do this. I just want to see the capacity of the iron and see that it flows. But yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that out of a direct heat 18 watt iron. So yeah, this has got really good direct heat technology in it. Neat. And with that actually on there, it's saying it's about, 270 degrees or something like that. So, and of course, if you set it to 400, then it's just going to go through that like butter. Wow. Look at that. Okay, let's try some 15 gauge wire. I'm back to 350 degrees and lead-free solder. So let's give it a whirl. And it makes light work of that. Let's just finish that off on the other side there. Wow. Yep. No problem whatsoever. Sweet as. Alright, so let's look at some of the other menu options here. We hit this, well, we've got to hold down this side of the button. We're into the settings. And we can go into the working temperature, 350. The standby temperature, which goes down to 200. I'm not fussed about a standby mode on an iron like this. Sleep time, 180 seconds. Power, that's 18 watts. Presumably we can change that. Temperature stop. Don't know what that is. I don't have a manual for this. They didn't actually provide a manual. Off voltage, 10 volts. So I guess anything over 10 volts, it switches off. Temperature, degrees C or Celsius, and right hand use or left hand use. Nice, so it'll flip the screen around. And that's just what the current voltage and temperature is. So to change the setting, we just hold down that and bingo, we can go in, and the power, we can actually go up to 24. So that's interesting. Give me more power. I'll take that. And to set it, you've just got to let it go in like that. And of course, we have to find out if it can burn its own lead. That's pretty good. Burn-proof silicon lead. Sweet as. And by the way, I've had this on for like, 10 minutes, and I can keep my fingers on there, and that's not even warm. And the other good thing about it, it's got a relatively short grip to tip distance, which is really important for getting fine work. Not quite as good as a JBC, but geez, you can't complain. And as far as ergonomics go, with the cable on there, like, you don't even notice that the cable's on there. It's absolutely fantastic. It's weighted quite well. The balance is like really nice. I rather like this. One thing though, like, I've been using this for 10 minutes and check out that tip. It's like, it's blackened around there already. Not terrific. I guess one thing this ring is useful for is that it does actually allow you to screw that tip off without touching it. Okay, I'm very curious to know what happens if we actually don't have a quick charge power bank available and we've only got a regular power bank, in this case 5 volts, 2.4 amps capable. See if it still works. Oh. Okay, no, it drew too much power. It switched my power bank off. Okay, but we're up and running. So it might just simply draw too much power. So let's go to heating mode, low volt. Damn. It's really I was hoping it would have, been able to work with that. So you've got to have a quick charge 3 capable power bank. Doesn't work otherwise. Or other suitable power source. But hang on, if we turn the power down, can we still do it? I'll go down to 16. That's the lowest we can go. I couldn't get to this menu when it was plugged into that power pack. We needed the other power pack to do it though. Nope, low volt, nothing we can do about it. So let's just do a very unfair comparison with the JBC, shall we? I've calibrated this to 300. So precisely 300 degrees, and it can just bite that ground plane there. The JBC also at 300. Let's give that a whirl, and that just goes through that like butter. But of course there's no comparison there because this is a 130 watt capable iron. But you can see that, for an 18 watt iron, it's super impressive. All right, how does it handle a multi-layer board at 350 degrees Celsius? No problem whatsoever. The fumes. All right, I've set the standby timer. There it is. Bang on 60 seconds, so it'll go down to 200. So if we pick that up, hopefully it'll come back. Nope. Oh, yeah, you got to shake it a little bit. There you go. So there must be an accelerometer in there to do that. You know, that's all right. I don't think it's a feature needed on something like this, but some people will like it. Aha, check this out. I just discovered that if you turn the off voltage up, it was 10 volts before, but if you go up to its maximum of 13 volts, we can get more power out of this thing. I'll show you. So look at this, going up, we're now drawing 20 watts there. You saw it. And if we start some soldering, I was able to get it up to over 20 watts. 20.4, so higher than its rated 18. Very nice. And you can see the voltage now, at least on this, with this particular supply, it's jumping up to 10 volts. So it's not like it's jumping up to that 12 volt quick charge mode. So not sure what's going on there, but it certainly can get extra power out of that. Nice. Okay, let's do the old wet sponge test, shall we? Give it a go. There we go. Yeah. But, hey, for the capacity, it's stuck. It's stuck. Oh, but of course, it's more than good enough for the job. We're just mucking around now. Okay, let's open up this puppy. Have a look inside. How do we get in there? I reckon this switch has to come off somehow. There's probably a screw under there. Well, that's the trick. You get your knife in there like that, and it's almost purposely designed to do that, and ta-da! The supplied Allen key fits. Ha ha! Winner, winner, chicken dinner. And this has to actually, oh yeah, there we go, it pops off. Ta-da! We're in like Flynn. Check it out. So there's our little OLED display. It's just stuck down. Just got some sponge there. And we've got our micro. It's an STM32 micro, I believe. Let's flip the board open. Looks very nice from the top side. If we slide that forward a bit, that will come out, and ta-da! TS80. There you go. I mean, the design of the casing and the design of the board and everything else is really very, very nice. TS80 version 1.7 for those playing along at home. So they've gone through a few revisions in here. And that SO8 there's obviously the power MOSFET. You can tell by the pinout, the nice chunky traces going across there. Surface mount 3.5mm socket. This looks reasonable quality. Like, how do you tell? A poly switch fuse on the input. That's very nice. And that's an inductor. So this is obviously a DC to DC converter. Why? So there we go. We've got a diode there and the inductor, so we can look up the data sheet for that DC to DC converter. A Q4335 MOSFET. I'll include the data sheet if we have it. Got a little tranny there by the looks of it. And up the front, that is going to be our thermocouple tip sensing amplifier there. So that's really quite a nice design. Let's flip it back over. And there's our switches again. And there's our STM32ARM micro. So don't know if there's any, because there's open source firmware for the TS100, I believe. So I'm sure it won't be long before people hack this thing as well. But, like, do you need to? I don't know. It seems to work just fine. The interface is a bit fiddly, but I wouldn't quibble about that. And there's our accelerometer, and there's a spare footprint next to it, unpopulated. That's probably for an alternative type, just in case they can't get it. I thought maybe it's a JTAG header, like the programming interface, but it doesn't seem to be. So I don't think, you know, this thing doesn't have any ready programming interface for it. So there you go, that's the new TS80 USB-C soldering iron, and I think this has got winner written all over it. The design and build quality is excellent, the thermal performance is excellent for the power available in this thing. It's more than what you'd need in most cases, unless you're doing really super heavy, you know, bullet connectors or something out in the field. I don't know, the TS100 may be better in that respect because it's a higher wattage iron, but for me, I know a lot of people won't agree, but for me, say the USB-C interface is just much nicer than the DC barrel jack on the TS100. And for those who think that the strain will be a problem on this, the supplied silicone lead is not only burn proof, but it is super lightweight and there's no stress on that at all. You don't even notice it. So I think it's fantastic. It's really hard to fault this thing. The only thing wrong with it, of course, is that it doesn't work on anything but a quick charge compatible either AC adapter like we used here or a power bank. And I don't have a quick charge power bank. You may not have a quick charge compatible power bank, so that might be an extra expense. You might have to go out and get one, but I think it's going to be really worth it. This is a real nice quality iron if you're looking for a portable, temperature controlled iron. It's fantastic. That's really the only downside, is that lack of compatibility with existing. I don't mind that it uses USB-C is great. It's the connector that they should be using, but it should be backward compatible with previous standards, because the existing USB standards can give, like charging ones can give 5 volts at 1.5 amps. No problems whatsoever. So you can get your 7.5, 8 watts, which we saw in the previous soldering irons. So I don't know why they don't do a fallback for that. Maybe it's just a firmware fix. That'd be nice if it was, but if you can't, it's a bit of a shame. But still, even having to buy a quick charge power bank, which I'm going to do now, so that I can carry this thing around, because it's just great. I love it. I'd rather have it over even though I haven't used the TS100, in the field, I don't need any more power than this thing's got. It's more than capable enough, and I just like the fact that it works with an existing power bank, and I don't have to dick around trying to find some other power source. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And as always, you can discuss it down below on the EEVblog forum. And for those who don't know, I do often, although not always, release my videos early to patron supporters. So link down below if you want to become a patron. Thanks. Catch you next time.